When you think of a friend, what comes to mind? Someone you can rely on, someone you have fun with, somebody that you confide in, somebody that you enjoy spending time with, perhaps similar interest. A lot of different aspects of friendship are there. When it comes to your mentee, however, you are to be 100% their friend, but they are only 50% your friend. What do I mean? You are 100% their friend. Everything that you can think about a good friend, you are to them. So therefore, for the mentee, you are someone they can confide in, someone they have fun with, someone they can lean on, someone they can talk to, someone they can hang out with, they enjoy being with, so on and so forth. All the good and the quote-unquote bad things of friendship, you are there for them. But on the flip side, you are only to be 50% their friend in the sense that you only share the good of your life with them. So when something good happens, you have good news to share, having fun, smiling, telling some jokes, learning, growing together, these things you do with them. But when it comes to needing to confide in someone, lean on somebody's shoulder, and so forth, that's not their role. You should select somebody your age or older to have as that person in your life. Your mentee, you are there for them. They are not there for you in that sense that we think of as a good friend. But it's important because that friendship has to be genuine, and you do have to be their friend because you want them to be able to come to you, be open with you, and to have both their happy times and their sad times with you. There are some additional limits that we want to consider as well. Avoiding seclusion. By this we mean that you and your mentee should ideally never be alone or secluded together. And if necessary, it should be for as little time as possible. And it's very important that the program director, advisor, as well as the parents know where you are and what's going on at all times. And this is for the protection on both sides. We don't want to put you as the mentor in a situation where, because you're alone, then some stories get spread and reputations are damaged or injured. And likewise, we want to make sure that our youth are protected and not put in a compromising situation where they might be harmed or somehow compromised in their values. If you're going to be going on an outing somewhere and you're picking them up and taking them, then it's very important that everybody knows exactly when they're being picked up, where you're going, so there's a clear understanding of how long you would be in the car together, where you're going to be, how long you're going to be there, when you're going to be back, and so forth. Avoiding seclusion does not mean that you cannot have any private conversations with them. For example, if you're sitting in a restaurant or you're in a park or otherwise a generally public space, you're still able to be off to the side where you can have private conversation with each other. Minimizing physical contact. Another aspect, again, for the protection on both sides, is to minimize the physical contact you have between you and your mentee. This means limiting hugs or other physical expressions of affection. On both sides, we want to make sure that neither one of you are uncomfortable. It's something that's personal to each person as to how comfortable they are with physical touch or being hugged or even having a hand on a shoulder. And we don't want to put anybody in a compromising situation. Furthermore, as issues of gender roles and sexuality come about, we don't want to add any potential confusion or project anything onto our mentees or vice versa. This includes, especially for the guys, not engaging in wrestling or physical contact sports in that way that's going to have a lot of physical contact. Gift giving should also be very limited. In general, we don't want to give gifts for a few different reasons. Number one, as mentors, you are there as volunteers. And we don't want to put a burden on you as the mentor that there's an expectation that you need to be providing gifts for your mentee. Also, mentees are very sensitive to this idea of fairness. And so if you give your mentee gifts and other mentors aren't giving their mentees gift, there may be this sense that they're somehow being cheated or it's unfair that they get gifts and I don't get gifts. Reciprocation is another major issue. There's a natural tendency that all of us have as human beings to want to reciprocate and do for others what they do for us. So if we give our mentees gifts, they're going to be feeling a desire to want to give us gifts as well. Well, we may be in a much better financial position to afford to purchase and buy and give them a gift, and they're not in that position. So it can leave them feeling a sense of inadequacy or uncomfortable because they can't return the favor. Parents may not approve of the gift. Even though it could be something that you could easily afford and that your mentee really wants, maybe it's something that the parent doesn't want their child to have. They may not approve of the message or some value represented or inherent within the gift. The gift may shame the parents. Perhaps it's a gift that the parents really wanted to be able to give their child, but they simply couldn't afford it. You're in a good financial situation and you think nothing of it, you buy the gift for the child. Now the parent feels ashamed that they were unable to buy that gift for their child. Ultimately, the relationship between mentor and mentee should be one based on trust and friendship, not on stuff. That being said, however, there are a few instances where gift giving may be appropriate. For example, in holidays, such as birthdays or other jointly celebrated holidays, a small gift may be appropriate, or perhaps as a reward for an achievement or an accomplishment that the youth has made. Now, if you are going to give such a gift, it should be, number one, inexpensive, so that way it's not something that would ideally shame the parents. You should check with the parents to make sure that the gift that you're going to give is acceptable to them. And ultimately, the very best gift would be to give a gift of something that you make yourself, because that's something that's personal. It can easily be reciprocated because the youth can make a gift and also return that favor. It's very unlikely to be something that would shame the parents or be something that the parents wouldn't approve of.